I never act fake to you guys. I always want to bring the real. And like I say, when I see a bad show, I will tell you I saw a bad show. When I see a good show, I will tell you I saw a good show. Tonight, I saw a damn good show. For most of the night, for almost the entire night, I enjoyed this pay-per-view. I thought this was a really good pay-per-view at SummerSlam tonight. It's debatable between that and the Royal Rumble from this year for the best main roster pay-per-view of 2020. But I thought that was better than TakeOver 30 from last night. I'm just telling you guys right now. I thought that was better than TakeOver last night. And I really don't say that the main roster pay-per-views are better than TakeOver, but this pay-per-view was better than TakeOver in my opinion. And we'll get to the things that I really liked in this this pay-per-view. The last four matches. I'll say the last 3 out of 4 matches I thought were really good stuff. The beginning part of the pay-per-view, I was like, but then right when Seth Rollins and Dominic started, the pay-per-view got so much better, and this actually turned out to be a really good pay-per-view tonight at SummerSlam, and I'm happy I'm not coming on negative tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. We got to talk about the main event, Falls Count Anywhere, with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. And what we saw at the end, we clearly know why the tagline was, "You'll never see it coming." Now we know why. And we also got to talk about Sasha Banks and Bayley defending their titles against Asuka. So we're going to break down everything here tonight on the SummerSlam review right here on the Big Fight Field channel. But before we do that, if you guys have not already, make sure you check out my SmackDown review on Friday, which is almost at 100 views. So let's get that to 100 views. Check out my NXT TakeOver 30 review from last night. And then check out my AEW Dynamite review this morning with Wesley Landon Worsley. I need you guys to check those videos out. But without further ado, let's get to SummerSlam. Let's quickly talk about the pre-show. We had MVP go up against Apollo Cruz for the United States Championship. And while this match wasn't really nothing special, it was fine for it was. It got 8 minutes. That got moved to the pre-show last minute. Personally, I would have put the Raw Tag Team title match on the pre-show over this match, just because this, I felt like, had more stakes, and I cared about more at this match more than I did the Raw Tag Team title match. I cared about this more than that tag title match. But for this was the definition of an average wrestling match. Nothing much happened. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. But it did its job. Apollo Crews retained in 8 minutes. He got away from the Hurt Business attack. And more than likely, we're going to get Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews next Sunday at the Payback pay-per-view. And Bobby Lashley will become the United States Champion. So I see that happening at Payback next week. Then we got on to the main card. Let's talk about this main card, man. This SummerSlam main card. Personally, like I said earlier, either that, tonight's show, or the Royal Rumble was the best main roster pay-per-view of 2020. So we had Asuka versus Bayley to kick off SummerSlam tonight. Fun little match to kick off. Nothing too special like the pre-show match. This match was around 9 to 10 minutes. Decent match. A fun, like I said, a fun little match to start the main card. This happened when Bayley hit the belly to belly. Asuka kicked out. Asuka then got Bayley in the Asuka lock. Bayley got out of it. Asuka kicked out. And then Bayley stands near the ropes. Sasha Banks gets on the apron. And, what happened after that? Asuka goes for the hip attack. She hits Sasha Banks. Bayley rolls her up. And Bayley retains the SmackDown Women's Championship against Asuka. Now, keep in mind that Asuka hit the hip attack. Sasha Banks took the bullet for her best friend Bayley to make sure she retained the SmackDown Women's Championship. I need you guys to keep that in mind because that comes into play in the Asuka-Sasha Banks match. You're going to want to keep that in your mind when we get to Asuka and Sasha Banks. But let's move on here, man. Let's move on. We got a Raw Tag Team title match. Andrade and Angel Garza versus the Street Profits. Kevin Owens was out on commentary. I don't know why he was out there on commentary, but Kevin Owens was out on commentary. So we got the Street Profits entrance, and there were flying solo cups coming down during the stage during the Street Profits entrance, which I actually thought was pretty damn cool. I'm not going to lie, that looked pretty cool. The flying solo cups during the Street Profits entrance. But I gotta be honest with you guys. I would have been fine if this match was not on the pay-per-view whatsoever and this was on Monday Night Raw. This match did not feel like a SummerSlam match whatsoever. This felt like a basic Monday Night Raw tag team match. And this was probably the one match on the card that I just had zero care about. I had zero care about this match on the card. And this match was about 7 minutes. That's all it got. So that's what WWE thinks of the tag team division. 7-minute matches for the tag team titles on pay-per-view. It's still a disgrace how WWE treats their tag team division. It really does. But at the end, I believe Garza knocked into Zelina Vega. Garza and Andrade knocked into Zelina Vega. Andrade was there to make sure Zelina was okay. Garza was getting beat up. Dawkins hit the Clash onto the mat. Montez Ford hit a twisted frog splash. And the Street Profits retained the Raw Tag Team titles in this match. Nothing special whatsoever. And I would have given this one to Andrade and Angel Garza. There's no point of the Street Profits winning this match because now you have nobody. You have absolutely nobody after tonight for the Street Profits to go up against. The Viking Raiders are off doing Raw Underground garbage. And Andrade Garza, they lost clean. There's no rematch for Andrade and Garza after tonight. And really the only direction they go in is probably a breakup. That's the only thing that I can really see them doing with Andrade and Garza is a breakup. And I think we're going to get that breakup as soon as tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. So then, we got the next match. We got the no disqualification. Loser leaves WWE. Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. Now, out of all the matches on the card, this was the one match that was made me had me reacting like, man, this was bad. I don't know what happened. Something was off. I don't know if they were mentally in it, but man, this match was not good. And for a feud that had it was so personal, so much intensity, they both wanted to literally kill each other. They stepped it up a notch with the loser leaves WWE no DQ situation. And this match was so bad. I don't know what it was, but this was not good. This was not a good match at all. They used two objects. They brung out a table, which Mandy Rose, she had a tough time setting up that table. I don't know what was going on with her and the table right there. But then really, they didn't even use the table in the first place. So the only thing they used this match was like a steel chair. And I'm like, it's a no DQ match. You guys can use anything that you want. And you used a steel chair and a table that you brought out that you didn't even use. I didn't like that. And then Mandy hit her knee and Sonya lost. So Sonya's leaving WWE, quote unquote. She's probably just taking a break because of everything that's going on. With what's been happening. I'm sure you guys know I'm not going to get too deep in depth into that, but Sonya is leaving. It makes sense. Mandy won the match. Sonya's going to go take a break. She's going to recuperate. She's going to recover mentally. And I see her coming back. Maybe Survivor Series, end of 2020, right before the Royal Rumble. People are saying that she's going to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble and win the Royal Rumble match. I can see that as well. And then there are also people saying that they're already booking the SmackDown Women's Championship match for WrestleMania 37 this year to be Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville. And I can 100% see that happening. I can 100% see Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania 37. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if there was one match that was like, this was a huge letdown, this was the match. This was the match. And I actually had interest in this match after Friday night. And now they disappointed me with the match. But Sonya is leaving for a little bit to recuperate herself. So I hope for nothing but the best for Sonya Deville. Street fight. The street fight, man. We had Seth Rollins with awesome ring gear. He was inspired by Bret Hart. And he was going up against Dominic Mysterio, who had some great ring gear himself. We see Dominic giving a hug and a kiss to his mother, Angie Mysterio. Rey Mysterio hugging his wife as he went out with Dominic as well to be by his side. So we had Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. And I only had one issue with this match. This match was great, by the way. I'll get to that. This was probably the best match of the night. This was personally my favorite match of the night. But the one thing I had a problem with is this is a street fight. Okay? This match is a street fight where they're starting this match off with a collar and elbow tie-up. And then they're doing headlocks and they're running the ropes. And I'm like, bro, this is a street fight. I expect you guys to be beating the shit out of each other. But instead, we're getting collar and elbow tie-ups to start the match. And I'm like, bro, that's a huge down immediately to start the match. But then they changed my way They swerved my thoughts. This match was a masterpiece. This was great. After the collar and elbow, I loved everything about this match. Dominic's intensity, the storytelling in this match was very good. That's probably the reason why this is my favorite match of the night. Seth Rollins played an awesome dick in this match. He played a really good dick heel to Dominic, bringing out tables. They had chairs. They had kendo sticks that he was whacking Dominic with. Angie even played a role in this match where she came out. Hold on. Or she came out after Rey Mysterio got handcuffed. Yeah. So Rey Mysterio got handcuffed. They got the handcuffs out. They were going to handcuff Dominic, but they decided to handcuff Rey Mysterio's left wrist. And they both had, both Rollins and Murphy had kendo sticks. They look at Rey Mysterio, but then on the stage is Angie Mysterio. So Seth Rollins is walking up to Angie like he is going to, beat her up. But Dominic attacks Rollins. He gets Murphy. He goes back into the ring. Dominic hits a 619, and he goes up to the top rope for the frog splash. Rollins gets the knees up. Rey Mysterio is trying. He's trying his hardest to get help for his son Dominic. He's handcuffed. Seth is laughing at Rey. You can't do anything. He says, "This is your son. This is your son right here." He runs to the rope. He curb stomps Dominic right in front of Rey Mysterio. And Seth Rollins pins Dominic right in front of Rey Mysterio. 1, 2, 3. And Seth Rollins wins this street fight. I mean, I gotta give a round of applause to the person who wrote this match and the person who produced this match. I would personally like to shake your hand. Whoever wrote this match between Seth Rollins and Dominic tonight at SummerSlam, I would like to personally shake your hand and tell you, job well done, sir. That's what I felt after this match. I loved it. Dominic was great. Seth Rollins was an amazing heel. Rey Mysterio was really good in this. Angie was even good in this. Everybody played their role so good. I was on the edge of my seat. I was screaming during this match. I wanted Dominic to win so bad. But then the evil Rollins won the match. And now where do we go? I think the story ends next week when we get the Mysterios versus Seth Rollins and Murphy at Payback, and the feud will end with the baby faces going over Rollins and Murphy. And that's the way the feud between Seth Rollins and the Mysterios are going to end. And it'll personally probably be one of my favorite feuds in 2020 on the main roster. Besides the eye for an eye bullshit that we got at Extreme Rules, which was, don't even remind me of that. This feud has been really good, and I gotta give them props. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Raw tomorrow night with this storyline. We then got into another damn good match. We had Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. And they had 3 matches for the Raw Women's Championship. This match was their best match. Simply because of the finish. I loved the finish. Of course we knew the match between Sasha and Asuka was going to be great stuff. I mean, it's Sasha Banks and Asuka. We've seen them do it in the ring before. They have been putting on great matches with 2 shitty finishes. Tonight, we did not get a shitty finish. Now, for this one, I'm just going to go right to the finish. Asuka had the Asuka lock in. Sasha flipped back, had a cover on Asuka, and she kicked out. We got Sasha standing near the rope, and we got Bayley standing on top of the apron. Now remember when I told you guys that Sasha took the bullet for Bayley in the SmackDown Women's Championship match to make sure Bayley kept the SmackDown Women's Champion? I told you to keep that in your mind. Here we are. Asuka goes to the hip attack to Sasha. Sasha moves. Bayley moves out of the way as well. Bayley does not take the bullet for Sasha Banks like Sasha Banks took for Bayley. Bayley moves. Asuka gets in position. She gives Bayley an enziguri. She's actually standing on the apron. She knocks Bayley off. Sasha rolls Asuka in the ring. Asuka rolls back. She locks Sasha in the Asuka lock. Sasha is screaming, "Bayley! Bayley! Bayley!" And she taps out. Bayley does not save Sasha Banks. Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion, and Sasha Banks looks depressed as hell. Sasha Banks looks depressed. I love the finish. This was another good story-told match with these 2 women right here. The split's coming. The split's coming. 1 title is down. Sasha Banks does not have the Raw Women's Championship. Next week at Payback, they're defending the Women's Tag Team Championships. They're going to lose those titles at Payback. The only title that will be left is Bayley having the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then we're off with Sasha Banks and Bayley, because I honestly cannot see WWE holding off Sasha and Bayley until next year. So I think they're going to do it for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Clash of Champions. They're going to waste it at Clash of Champions. But great match. Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion. We all knew this was coming. It fits in the Sasha Banks agenda, unfortunately, as well. She hasn't had 1 successful title defense when she was a women's champion. It's pretty sad, man. That's pretty sad. Great match, though. Great match. I gotta catch my breath. Whew. What a night, man. What a night. WWE Championship. We had Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Drew made his entrance. He looks at the Thunderdome. He's like, this is pretty damn cool. And I'll talk about the Thunderdome at the end of this video, by the way. So, Randy and Drew. The match started at 9:15. It was 20 minutes. The first couple minutes I thought were very boring. The first 10 minutes were a slow, methodical, and the pace was lowered down to Randy Orton's slow-paced style. But then things picked up when Drew hit the future shot DDT, and Randy kicked out. Randy kicked out of the DDT, okay? And then Randy hits a move on McIntyre. He's setting up for the RKO, and he backs up. Instead, he wants to punt McIntyre. McIntyre gets up, hits a spine buster on Randy Orton. He goes to the corner. He's hyped up. He wants to hit that Claymore kick on Randy Orton. He goes 3, 2, 1, misses the Claymore. He lands on his back. Randy hits tries to hit the RKO. McIntyre gets in his backslide, and you never saw it coming, folks. You never saw it coming. Drew McIntyre retained the WWE Championship. Now, the backslide finish is pretty damn lame. I gotta admit, it's the most devastating finisher in all of wrestling, but I think it's pretty damn lame. But the match itself, for those last 10 minutes, I thought this match was very good. I thought the match was very good, especially the last 10 minutes of this match. And McIntyre retaining the WWE Championship was the right call. I don't think Randy Orton needs the WWE Championship, folks. They made the right call with having McIntyre retain the title. Because what's McIntyre going to do after he loses the WWE Championship? I don't necessarily think Randy Orton needs the WWE Championship. And plus, I think the feud's continuing. I think we're going to get Orton and McIntyre next week at Payback and going on into Clash of Champions. This is not over. This is actually far from over. Tonight was only the first match. Next weekend, you're going to get the second match. And if I had to tell you right now, if this match happens at Payback, Randy Orton will win. And then we get the third and final match at Clash of Champions, and we'll see what happens then. But tonight, as for tonight, the right winner, the right guy won. McIntyre walked out as the WWE Champion. Then after this match, we got a video package. It says, tomorrow night, Raw will be limitless. You guys know where I'm going with this one. Keith Lee is going to Monday Night Raw. He will be making his main roster debut tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. And you guys know I do this every time an NXT superstar gets called up to the main roster. I cross my fingers. I cross my fingers that they don't get buried. It's impossible. It's a crime. Okay? It's a crime if WWE screws Keith Lee up. How can you screw Keith Lee? But yet we said that for Shinsuke Nakamura and AOP and Bobby Roode and who else? The Street Profits, they don't feel the same. AOP, I don't want to go on. Even Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle just feels like a normal guy on SmackDown. He doesn't feel like the original cool bro like he did in NXT. But Keith Lee will be on Raw tomorrow night. That got people talking. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Keith Lee on Raw tomorrow night. I honestly thought they were going to do a rematch for the NXT Championship between Keith Lee and Karrion Kross at the next TakeOver, but I guess not. And plus, Kross might not even be the NXT Champion because last night, apparently, he has a separated shoulder. I guess we'll have to watch NXT on Wednesday night to see what's going on with Karrion Kross. But we got the main event. We got The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman, or Bald Strowman, in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the Universal Championship. The Universal Championship. This match was 15 minutes. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't like the past 3 matches. It wasn't bad as well. I'm not going to shit on it besides the finish. It was okay. at least they didn't just fight around the ringside area. They went to the back. They were actually fighting in Gorilla. Bray hit his sister Abigail in Gorilla, and Braun kicked out. Then they went back to up with the apron. They were brawling back in the ring. Braun speared Bray through the barricade. Braun hits a power slam on Bray. Bray kicked out. Braun's freaking out. He's like, why won't you die? Then Braun goes over to the toolbox. He's looking for stuff. And he gets a box cutter. And he's cutting the ring canvas. He rips the ring mat. He rips the blue off the mat. He rips the ring canvas. And all you see is wood. And the camera's back. And all you see is Bray Wyatt standing up. Bray Wyatt hits Braun with a Uranagi. And then he hits him with 2 Sister Abigails. And that's it. And that finish was so flat. That was a flat, out of nowhere finish. That is the second night on a pay-per-view with TakeOver and now SummerSlam that we had a main event that had a very flat finish. But then Bray Wyatt wins the Universal Championship. Finally, that goddamn Universal title is off Braun Strowman, and the Fiend is the new Universal Champion. But he is not going to be champion for long. Bray Wyatt is being set up to be a transitional champion. Why? Because you never saw it coming. Roman Reigns spears the Fiend. Roman Reigns spears the Fiend. He then spears Braun Strowman. He takes a steel chair and he hits the steel chair on Braun 6 times. He then gets in the ring and he spears the Thing. He spears the Fiend and he tells Braun, you ain't no monster. I created you. Without me, you're nobody. And then after he spears the Fiend, he's like, I'm supposed to be scared of you? You're just a clown that walks around in the mask that calls himself the Fiend. This title is mine. So he raises the Universal Championship to end SummerSlam. And folks, you never saw it coming. You never saw it coming. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns will be a Universal Champion by Clash of Champions. Bray Wyatt will be a transitional champion. Bray Wyatt is not going to be champion for long. I'm even shocked that Roman Reigns came back before 2020. I guess the fact that WWE's now in the Thunderdome, I guess that gave him a reason to come back. I guess. But Roman Reigns is back, and he did not act like his normal self. He was actually acting like a heel. And if we're going to get a feud between heel Roman Reigns and babyface Bray Wyatt, I'm all for it. Braun Strowman, I don't even involve Braun Strowman. In my opinion, Braun Strowman lost. Braun Strowman is out of the Universal Championship picture, okay? He's done. He is gone. He had his time, and he failed. Goodbye, Braun Strowman. Now it looks like we're getting Roman Reigns versus The Fiend. And WWE they knew they had no challengers for The Fiend once The Fiend won the Universal Championship. So that's why they got Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes back. He spears the Fiend. And I'm telling you right now, Roman Reigns will be the Universal Champion come September 27th at Clash of Champions. It's coming, folks. If he's a babyface or if he's a heel. He is the next Universal Champion. And I'm telling you, he's going to be the Universal Champion after Clash of Champions. But overall, this was an okay match and a segment that I was shocked. Like, no one in the community mentioned the name Roman Reigns at all. And then Roman Reigns comes back and spears the Fiend, takes out Braun Strowman, and he's coming for the Fiend. So the whole "you'll never see it coming" tagline centered around the return of Roman Reigns. And now he's coming for the championship that he was supposed to win at WrestleMania against Bill Goldberg, and that's the Universal Championship. Overall, SummerSlam 2020 was a really damn good pay-per-view and will probably go down as one of the best main roster pay-per-views of 2020. And I had a fantastic weekend of professional wrestling. TakeOver, great show. AEW, great show. SummerSlam, really good show. We had 3 good shows this weekend. And as a professional wrestling fan, I couldn't be any happier. I'm getting out of here for tonight. Thank you guys for watching my SummerSlam 2020 review. If you have not already, subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel for a fresh new week of content. I want to thank everybody that tuned in to Big Fight Field content this week. We had 9 videos this week and 8 new subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you like the content I put up here on Big Fight Field. Comment down below, man. I want to know your thoughts about tonight's SummerSlam. Leave the thumbs up if you enjoyed my SummerSlam review. Follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph. And I will see you guys tomorrow night for the Monday Night Raw review here on the Big Fight Field channel. I'll be here for the Raw review. And I'll be on the Thunderdome. Yeah, you're damn right. Whoa, what's he talking about? I'll be on Thunderdome tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw. Call time at 8:45. So look for your boy, Joseph Conlon, on the Thunderdome tomorrow night, Monday Night Raw. We got Keith Lee making his debut in the fallout of SummerSlam. I hope it's a good show. And I'll be back here tomorrow night for your Raw review here on the channel. Have a good night. Stay safe, guys.